Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me, Krendor, and welcome to my Nighthaunt Battletome review. I'm actually really excited to do this review just because I think this Battletome is great. So thank you to Games Workshop for sending me the Battletome early. And, you know, I feel like some people have seen the leaks of this Battletome online because it did happen, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to show my favorite things that are in this Battletome. I'm not going to go through the entire things, you know, you can find stuff. Plus I think other YouTubers have already done that, but I kind of want to show my favorite things in this Battletome, so I'll kind of just skim over to the other stuff. First things first, you got some cool art. Actually a lot of cool art here. Pretty big fan of all the art and the lore in here. I haven't read any of the lore, but I kind of want to because I don't know much about the Nighthaunt. So just taking a look there. There is a lot. And we got painting tips and stuff. But here we are. The main course, the allegiance abilities. Let's see. I think you can see that pretty well. I don't know if I should like hold the book up here. Actually, I think it's probably just easier to keep it like this and then point at things. I mean, it should be pretty clear if you like maximize your screen or something. So first things first, you have Nighthaunt processions. By the way, these allegiance abilities are fantastic. Like, I love these allegiance abilities. So you can pick one of the following sub-factions, and, you know, that's pretty much all this is, sub-factions. We'll get to those in a little bit. Aura of Dread. Enemy units are terrified while they're within 3 inches of any friendly Nighthaunt units. While a unit is terrified, it cannot issue or receive the Inspiring Presence command. This ability has no effect on Nighthaunt units. So this is crazy, because this just allows you to make sure nobody can use their Inspiring Presence. This makes it so everybody is so scared, they're so terrified that they're not gonna stand there and be like, I will not flee. They're just like, wah, right? So I really like this. I think this is really cool, especially because every game you play, you run into people just going like, oh, I don't take battle shock, right? So it adds that battle shock element back in, and I think it kind of makes sense from an actual lore army side, you know what I mean? Like, obviously if you're fighting ghosts, you're gonna be pretty scared. You're just like, wah. So I kind of hope they stick with this theme of like creating armies that fit their army theme, and I think they're doing a really good job of it. I really like what they did with Nurgle. I think the Orc book was okay. I thought Bone Splitters was ass, but the other factions were fun. Cruel Boys needs like some points and reworks and stuff, but they're still pretty cool. And then I'm hoping that Skaven and Sylvaneth are also kind of sticking with that theme of like they feel very much how you think they would play out. So we'll see. Either way, this is cool. Then we have friendly Nighthaunt units have a ward of 6+. In addition, units can retreat and still charge in the same turn. Ignore modifiers, positive and negative to save rolls for attacks that target friendly Nighthaunt units. So pretty crazy here. The big thing is they're getting a 6+ ward that you can turn into a 5+ ward with a command point. That's the big one here for the ward, at least, because they're deaths. They get a 6+ ward anyway, but you can spend a command point to give them a 5+ ward in the shooting or the combat phase, and it lasts for that phase. Which is pretty nice, a little more survivability, since you can't save stack, because you can't do any positive or negative modifiers. But the other big one here is that you can retreat and still charge in the same turn. There's so many good units you can use for retreating and charging, and that matters a lot because of the Wave of Terror. After a friendly Nighthaunt unit finishes a charge move, you can look up the unmodified charge roll for the charging unit on the Wave of Terror table shown below. Pick one enemy unit within an inch of the Nighthaunt unit, and then apply the relevant effect from the table to that enemy unit. If you prefer, you can pick an effect for a lower unmodified charge roll, e.g. if you roll an 8, you can choose to apply the Shriek instead of the Stun. And an enemy unit can be affected multiple times by Wave of Terror effects as long as each is applied by an unmodified charge roll for a different charging Nighthaunt unit. So you can subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit in combat. You give them -1 save rolls for attacks that target them in combat, or they fight last. So all of these are insane. Imagine just charging like one hero, right? Or a monster or anything, and you're like, oh, you fight last and you're -2 to save. Or even just like you fight last and you're -1 to hit, -1 to save. Like just all these, especially stacking up. Imagine you just charge in, and maybe you don't even care that you fight last. Maybe you have like a big monster going up against their big monster, and you charge it with numerous things, and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna give you -3 to save, right? Maybe you roll like a 10, a 9, and an 8, and you're like, yeah, I just give you -3 to save. Like, that's actually insane. You go from like a 3-up save to like a 6-up, and if they have no ward save, like, mamma mia. Or maybe you just want to give them -1 to hit. That'd be kind of crazy too. Maybe first they're hitting on 2s or 3s, now they're hitting on 5s or 6s. So I mean, this is actually just, it's gonna be really fun to keep charging. And then watch, you'll end up just rolling a bunch of really terrible charges or something. Or just failing to charge completely. Still really cool, I like that a lot. Then we have Frightful Touch, unmodified hit rolls of 6, automatically wound. That's great. Anytime you can bypass rolling something, it's fantastic. And then Vanishing Phantasms. At the end of deployment, before determining control of objective, you can remove up to 3 friendly Nighthaunt units from the battlefield, place them to one side, set up an ambush as reserve units. At the end of your movement phase, you can set up 1 or more of the reserve units in an ambush on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemies. So, just straight up deep strike with 3 units, whatever you want. Nighthaunt units. Like, again, fantastic, cool. I love all these, like, they're great. So then we go enhancements. I'm not gonna read them all, I'm just gonna point out some ones I like. I really like the Cloaked in Shadow. General cannot be picked as the target of a shooting or combat attack by more than 1 unit per phase. So that's pretty nice. I also like, 4-up ward's always good. Never a bad thing. Reroll hit and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by this general. A target enemy unit does not have the death keyword, so I mean, a decent amount of times. And then artifacts of power down here. You got subtract 1 from attacks of melee weapons that target the bear. Subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks with melee weapons by enemy units while they are within 3 inches of the bear. And then this one is crazy. You get once per battle, you get an auto 12 cast, cannot be unbound endless spell. So if you have like a really strong endless spell and you want to cast this thing, you just do this Midnight Tome, and you're like, oh, auto casted, can't be unbound. So that's pretty neat. Going over here, I believe I liked this one. Hold on. There we go. Once per battle at the start of the combat phase, you can say the bearer will release the Baleful Gloom of Light Shard. Give +1 attacks to melee weapons used by Nighthaunt wholly within 12. So if you just have a bunch of units within 12, they all get +1 attacks in melee, so that's pretty nice. Although you do have to keep them kind of crammed together, I guess, because they have to be wholly within, so that's the only downside to that one. Still pretty solid. In terms of spell lores, there's Soul Cage, which is crazy. A spell that has a casting value of 7, range of 12. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within range. Invisible strike last effect applies to that unit until the end of the turn. That's pretty wild. Just straight up, like, let's say before you even charge, you get this spell off, so you know, oh, if we charge in right now, we don't even have to, if we roll a 10 up, we don't have to worry about giving it strike last. It already has it. Now I can give it -1 to save or something like that. You know what I mean? So that is really nice. There's also Spectral Tether, which allows you to just teleport. And you can also give a unit a 5-up ward. So also nice. I pretty much think like most of these are really good. Then we get to the sub-factions. These are all pretty insane. You have enemy units cannot retreat while they are within 3 inches of any friendly Grieving Legion units with 10 or more models. You have, this is probably my favorite one. After armies have been set up, but before the first battle round begins, you can pick up to D3 plus 1 different enemy units on the battlefield. At the end of each battle round, roll a dice for each unit you picked that is on the battlefield. On a 2+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. If that unit's a monster, it suffers D3 plus 1 mortal wounds instead of D3. This is crazy. At first, I thought this was only in like the first battle round, and then I realized that it's at the end of each battle round. So you get to do this 5 times. So if you roll well, you would give 4 different units D3 mortal wounds. So that's like a minimum of 5 mortal wounds if you roll terribly, and a maximum of 15 mortal wounds. I guess you have to roll it on a 2-up as well, so maybe a little less, but this is still crazy. And then if you do a monster, you get the D3 plus 1. So I mean, this is just bonkers. You got Scarlet Doom. After a friendly Scarlet Doom Bladegeist Revenant unit makes a charge move, you can pick an enemy unit within 1. If you do so, roll a number of dice equal to the number of models from the charging unit. For each 5-up, target suffers a mortal wound. That's okay. And then ward rolls cannot be made for wounds caused by attacks made with melee weapons by a friendly Quicksilver Dead Dreadscythe Heritage unit. This is actually really good if you run just a bunch of Dreadscythe Heridians, because we'll see eventually, but just being able to ignore ward saves is always pretty wild too. So then, if we go to Warscrolls, we can see we have Nagash. She hasn't really changed. We have Lady Olinder, who is actually pretty insane. So she has 8 moves, 7 wounds, 4 save, and 10 bravery. So her biggest weakness, honestly, is just having 7 wounds. But she has a 4-up ward. She can cast 2 spells and unbind 2. And once per battle, at the start of your hero phase, if this unit is on the battlefield, you can return up to D6 slain models to each friendly Nighthaunt summonable unit on the battlefield. Roll separately for each unit. That's crazy. Like, you know, let's say you've lost like 4 Chain Rasps, you've lost like 4 Bladegeists, you lost, you know, one of your Spirit Hosts, and I don't know, some other stuff, and then you're just like, oh, they're all back. Like, that's got to be so annoying too for your opponent. You know, if you roll well, I mean, you might roll a bunch of 1s, but I really like this. Roll a dice each time an enemy unit issues a command within 12 of this unit. On a 5-up, that command is not received. It still counts as having been used, and the command point that was spent to issue that command is lost. Woo! That is... That's wild. So you literally just are like, oh, you tried to do all-out attack. You don't. You lose your command point, and you can't use all-out attack again. Sorry. Like, oh my god, that's crazy. Then at the start of your shooting phase, you can pick an enemy unit within 12 of the unit, roll a dice. On a 2-up, it suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the roll. I add 1 to the number of mortal wounds that the target suffers if it is terrified. Most of the times, you know, things are going to be terrified. If any enemy models are slain by this ability, you can heal up to D3 wounds allocated to this unit for each enemy model that was slain. So a nice little way to heal yourself. And then she has a spell, casting value 7, range 18. Pick an enemy unit, subtract 1 from hit rolls, and add 1 to hit rolls for things, you know, hitting it. So, very nice. I mean, she's solid. Plus her attacks, you know, 4 attacks, 3x3, minus 2 damage. And then 6 attacks, 4x4, minus 1 damage. I mean, you know, decent attacks. So, I like Lady Olinder a lot. Then we got Kurdos Valentinian. Or Valentian. He hits very hard. So he's 8-7, 4-10. Another 7 wound hero. So he has no ward. But 5 attacks, 3x3, minus 3. I just can't see him over here. 3 damage. So if he hits, he's hitting. And then, you know, your 6 attacks, 4x4, minus 1 damage. His big thing, At the start of each battle round, after the players have received their starting command points, you can roll a dice if this unit's on the battlefield. Add 1 to the roll if this unit is within 6 of any enemy hero. On a 5-up, subtract 1 from your opponent's command points and add 1 to your command points. So he just steals command points. Again, pretty insane. I almost think... the thing is, like, he has to be on the battlefield. Otherwise, you could, like, deep strike with him, right? Because if you deep strike with him on turn 1, then you're not going to be able to steal command points. So I guess you just kind of hide him away, and then maybe you use something else to kind of get him off the board and teleport him around or something, because you want to keep him safe, especially because he's only got 7 wounds and a 4-up save. But I guess he does have the 6-up standard ward, but still, I mean, you can command point if you're really getting hit. Either way, it's... I love this. Then we have the new guy, Allrock the Drowner. 4 attacks, 3x3, -2 D3 damage. 10 moves, 7 wounds, 4 save, 10 bravery. You can fly, and with this ability, you can use this command ability to start your movement phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Nighthaunt on the battlefield that is visible to this unit. That unit must receive the command. First, remove this unit from the battlefield and set it up again on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units. Then remove that friendly Nighthaunt unit from the battlefield, set it up again wholly within 12 of this unit and more than 9 from all enemy units. This counts as their move for that phase. So he just takes you on the boat somewhere, which is pretty cool. And I guess the range on this would be, because it has to be visible, but there's a range, right? So I think, is it 12 inches for heroes? 12 or 18? And then I think your general is 18 or 24. I can't remember off the top of my head, but something like that. Still pretty solid. And he's just kind of fun to play with. Then we have Reignor the Grim Hailer. I love this guy. This guy is one of my favorite units, I think, in Nighthaunt. So, hold on, let me tilt the book up even a little bit. 14-inch move, 7 wounds, 4-up save, 10 bravery. He's got 2-inch range, 5 attacks, 3x3, -2 damage, then 3 attacks, 4x4, 1 damage. You can cast a spell and unbind a spell. And in your hero phase, before this unit attempts to cast a spell, you can say, "Will snuff out a corpse candle." If you do so, pick either this unit or 1 enemy unit within 12. The unit picked suffers a mortal wound. If the mortal wound was suffered by an enemy unit, add 1 to casting. If it was suffered by this unit, add 3 to casting. So if you really want to get a spell off, you just hurt yourself and get +3 to casting, which is insane. Or you can just be like, I'm getting +1 to casting, and I'm gonna hurt an enemy unit within 12 for a mortal wound, which is still like, you know, deal a mortal wound and get +1 to casting. Like, okay. He also gets to add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made by this unit. This unit's Fell Reaper if the target is a priest or wizard. So if he's targeting out priests and wizards, straight up 2x2, 5 attacks, -2 damage. Like, whoo! That's spicy. And mortal wounding them. And then he can cast Wraith Storm, casting value 7, range of 12. Pick an enemy within range invisible. Unit suffers D3. Mortal wounds. If any model in the unit are slain as a result of this spell, it immediately suffers an additional D3 mortal wounds. So he can actually hit like hordes of units. So if there's like a group of 10 clan rats and he kills 2 of them, then he gets to do another D3 mortal wounds. So I just love this guy. Like, he's got movement, he's got good attacks, he can target people, he can cast spells, like he can just do so many things. I mean, he can give people the spell we talked about earlier with Last Strike, right? So I think he's really good. Scriptor Mortis, kind of a meme unit. You know, he's okay. Pretty much you make judgment rolls and you might do 2d6 mortal wounds. Like, he's kind of just a meme. I don't know if I'm actually gonna take him unless I'm like just trying to have some goofs or something. We have Knight of Shrouds, which, you know, these two are the same, just one's on a horse. He's actually kind of cool because at the end of combat phase, if enemy models were slain by this attack, any attacks made by this unit's Sword of Stolen Hours, you can heal a wound to this unit and add a wound to the characteristic of this unit. And then you can, once per battle round, Unleash. You can redeploy or unleash hell to a commandly. I need to start over. Once per battle round, this unit can issue the redeploy or unleash hell command to a friendly Nighthaunt summonable unit without a command point being spent. In the command phase, when you pick this unit to fight for the first time in the phase, you can pick one summonable Nighthaunt summonable unit wholly within 12 that is not yet fought, and this unit and the Nighthaunt summonable unit can fight one after the other in order of your choice. So, pretty solid. Anytime you can just get back-to-back fighting and do free command points, like, sounds great. And his attacks are okay. Cruel Gas Cruciator, actually a pretty solid model. He's got a decent ranged attack. Well, it's an okay ranged attack, but it hits, but it doesn't hit for a lot. And then he's got an okay melee attack. His big thing is if this unit's within 12 of any terrified unit, subtract 1 from the damage inflicted by each successful attack that targets a friendly Nighthaunt unit wholly within 12 of this unit. So he kind of chills out by some stuff you don't want to die, and then when they're hitting it within 12, they are subtracting 1 damage from the inflicted damage, which... very good. Taking damage, taking less damage, it's pretty good. Dreadblade Harrow is okay. 12 move, 5 wounds, 4 save, 10 bravery. At the end of the movement phase, you can take him off the battlefield, set him up anywhere else, so he just gets like an auto teleport. And once per battle, if your general issues a command, this unit can issue the same command in that same phase without a command point being spent. If it does so, that command must be received by Nighthaunt units. So you can just like all-out attack twice in the same phase, or all... I guess you can't all-out defense, because it's not going to matter. But all-out attack twice, pretty neat. Lord Executioner, I don't think he was that great. Guardian of the Souls can bring stuff back. Nothing too crazy. I guess if you're just trying to like summon stuff back over and over, you might run him or heal. Spirit Torment, 8 move, 5 wounds, 4 save, 3/3/3 -2 damage. And at the end of the combat phase, you can pick a summonable Nighthaunt unit wholly within 12 and heal up to 3 wounds, or you can bring back models equal to 3 or less wound characteristic. Same unit cannot benefit from this ability more than once per turn. Then you have Chain Ghasts, 8-inch move, 2 wounds, 4 up save, 2 attacks, 4/3 -2/1 damage on missile weapons, then 2 attacks, 4/3 -2/1 damage on their melee weapons, and add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Nighthaunt units wholly within 12 of any friendly units with this ability while a friendly Spirit Torment's on the battlefield. So they synergize with the Spirit Torment, and that's their big thing. I mean, yeah, they're okay. I don't know. Honestly, don't know if I'm gonna run them. Probably not. Toon Banshee. I love this unit a lot. So, 8-inch move, 5 wounds, 4 save, 10 bravery. She has a missile weapon, D3, 3/3 -2/1 damage, and then a 2 attack, 3/3 -2/2 damage dagger. And at the end of your charge phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 12 of this unit and roll a dice. Add 1 to the roll if your target is terrified. On a 4-up, your opponent must add 1 to the number of command points that are spent to issue a command to the enemy unit until your next hero phase. So odds are it's going to be on a 3-up. So a little above a 50% chance. Otherwise, it is a 50% chance. And you literally just charge her in and then make it hard for them to use command points on that unit. And I feel like she's good to just charge in and tie something up because... you know, I think she's like a perfect additional charge, right? Let's say you charge in your Black Coach, right? And then you charge in the Toon Banshee with the Black Coach. And obviously they don't want the Toon Banshee there because they're like, she's annoying. But they have to fight the Black Coach because it's obviously going to be a bigger problem to fight that. And then you're like, God, but you just have this annoying Toon Banshee hitting you still for like possibly maybe like 2 to 4 damage, maybe 1 or 2 more damage from the piercing scream, and then just making it so you know, it's an additional charge, so you might get -1 save, -1 hit, fight last, and then you might have to just spend more command points to do anything with that big unit you're trying to, you know, kill or not be killed. So I think it's fun to at least have one of these and throw them in for like 115 points. I think she is. So I'm gonna experiment, see if it's worth it. But I think it's just fun. Cairn Wraith kind of sucks. His attack is equal to models within 3 inches of this unit. Neat. It's 3x3 -1/2 damage. Like, I don't know. Maybe if he's fighting hordes, but then we get to the Grimghast Reapers. 8 move, 4 save, 1 wound. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of this unit's slasher scythe if there are 5 or more models in the target unit. 2 attacks, 4x3 -1/1 damage. And then you get 1 death knell for 2 attacks, 4x3 -1 D3 damage. So, you know, the boss guy swinging essentially. Then you get Chain Rasp, 8 move, 5 save. 2 attacks, 4x4, 1 damage. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks with melee weapons if they made a charge this turn, so it'd be 4x3s, 1 damage. And you can add 1 attack to the main dude in the thing. So these are like, you literally just use them to hold points, I guess, because they're cheap. Then you have Bladegeist Revenants, which are 2 attacks, 3x3 -1/1 damage. Same profile as the Grimghast Reapers, but they can add 1 to attacks of this unit's Tomb Great Blades if they made a charge move. So if they charge in, you're getting 3 attacks, 3x3 -1/1 damage, which is pretty spicy, right? And 6s are auto wounding, so I mean, you got like 10 of them, so that's 30 attacks, 6s, auto wound at -1/1 damage, and then, you know, you probably hit with, I guess, statistically half of those. So I mean, it's not bad. And then I think you can run the sub faction with them. So I mean, Bladegeist Revenants can do some pretty hefty damage. What was the sub faction again? It was the, I gotta check. Hold on. It was it the Mortal Wound charge one? Bladegeist Revenants makes a charge. You can pick an enemy within 1. If you do so, roll a number of dice equal to the number of models from the charging unit. For each 5+ target suffers a mortal wound. So you can make them do mortal wounds on the charge as well. So you can make them really crazy on the charge. They do mortal wounds on 5-ups. They get +1 attacks to their blades, and then they're getting the table as well. So pretty wild. Craven Throne Guard, kind of ass. 8/4, 1, 2 attacks, 4x4 -1/1 damage. They can shoot through walls, which is kind of cool. And they can rally on a 5 instead of a 6 with a banner, but like, I don't know, man. They need either, I think what I would do, either -2 rend or 2 damage. Like, these are crossbows. You telling me a crossbow can't do 2 damage? Come on. Come on. I think they should be 2 damage, like straight up. Either 2 rend or 2 damage. I would say 2 damage. Like, I think that's dumb. That's the 12-inch range. Like, come on, give them 2 damage. Okay, whatever. Glaive Wraith Stalkers. They have a weird thing of just picking a prey on the battlefield and they get +3 to charge against it. But they suck because they 1 attack each, 4x3 -1/2 damage. Maybe if they had 2 attacks each, they'd actually be solid, but 1 attack seems bleh. Spirit Hosts, 8 move, 3 wounds, 4-up save, 6 attacks, 4x4, 1 damage. Their big thing is that they are bodyguards now. So on a 3-up, wound or mortal wound is allocated to a friendly unit with this ability instead of the hero. So you put this by Lady Olinder or the Valentian, and you just let them soak damage. That's pretty much what you do with them, which I think is cool. I like that they're doing a lot of bodyguard units now because there's so many heroes that need it. You know, it's the Seraphon treatment. I'm used to that. You run your 5 Tomb Guard, or not Tomb Guard, your Temple Guard, and just sit them by your slaying. So, you know, I'm like, oh, hey, more of those. Cool. Plus, it helps counter shooting, which I think is cool. I think it's one way to counter shooting and getting your heroes sniped off the table. So I'm actually a fan of that. Then we have the Miramore Banshees, which are pretty wild. 8/4/1, 2 attacks, 4x3 -2/2 damage, and You can roll 2d6 each time an enemy wizard successfully casts a spell that is not unbound and chooses for the effect of the spell to apply to a unit wholly within 12 of this unit, or when an endless spell finishes a move within 6 of this unit. Add 1 to the hit roll if this unit has 3 or more models. If the roll is greater than the casting value for the spell or endless spell, that spell is unbound before it has any effect or the endless spell is dispelled. So it's essentially just another way to unbind. Sorry, made me sneeze. That's another way to like unbind stuff, which is pretty neat. Whoa. Whoa. All right. I pulled a muscle or tweaked something. I don't know. These are pretty good, honestly. I think these are great, especially -2/2 damage. Like, and then they're just, you know, another way to get rid of spells. So cool. Then we have Dreadscythe Heritage, which we talked about earlier. 8-inch move, 4 save, 1 wound, 4 attacks, 4x4, 1 damage. So like 4 attacks. My God. And then you can add 1 to attack characteristic of the leader. Add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by this unit if it is within 6 inches of any models that have any wounds allocated to them, or if it is within 6 of any units that have had models slain this turn. And then you can subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made by enemy units within 3 inches of this unit if this unit made a charge move in the same turn. So, big thing here is that if you get this to proc, right? So maybe there's some wounds on something, or I don't know, whatever. You get 4 attacks, 3x3, 1 damage, and you're ignoring ward rolls, which is the big thing. Why you take this, you run them as the battle line, and then you try to have them ignore ward rolls. So pretty crazy, I would say so. And we keep going. So now we got the black coach. All right, hold on. I gotta blow my nose real quick. All right, there we go. So we have the black coach, which is crazy. 10 move, 12 wounds, 4 save, a bunch of attacks. Like, wowee. So many attacks. And then when this unit is set up for the first time, place a D6 beside it with the 1 facing up. Each time an enemy model is slain or flees within 12, increase the value of the dice by 1 to a max of 6. If the value is 5 or 6, the unit has a ward of 4 instead of 5, which is crazy. By the way, it has a 5-up ward. And once per turn in your shooting phase, if the value is a 6, you can say this unit will unleash its stored necromantic energy. Pick an enemy within 12 and roll a dice. On a 2-up, that enemy suffers 3d3 mortal wounds. Change the value back to 1. So, with my luck, I'll roll a 1 and they'll be completely useless, but a potential 9 mortal wounds. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'd say it's pretty good. Whoa. So yeah, really like that. And then, after this unit makes a charge move, pick an enemy unit within 1. On a 2-up, it suffers d3, so just more mortal wounds. And instead of picking a unit to make a normal move or retreat, you can say it will travel the underworlds to a new location, remove it from the battlefield, set it up again 9 inches away and 1 from terrain. So literally it's just like, hey, see you later. I'm gonna go over there. And it just does that. And then it can do crazy charge. It can literally mortal wound on the charge, get the table with the charge. Like, Black Coach is crazy, man. Like, this is, it can retreat and charge. Like, this, I just built my Black Coach, got it primed up. I'm ready to go. I'm pumped. Then we got the Briar Queen, Thorns of the Briar Queen. They're okay. I don't have those. I'm not running them, so I kind of, whatever. And then we have Hex Race, who I think are gonna be pretty good. Like, straight up. I bought 1 box of these. I might buy another, because I think these are really good. So 12 move, 2 wounds, 4-up save. They get 2 attacks, 3x3 -1, 1 damage. 2 attacks, 4x4, 1 damage. You can add 1 to the attack characteristic of the leader. And at the start of the movement phase, you can say this unit will perform a phantasmal advance. If you do so, double this unit's move characteristic, but this unit cannot charge. And then after this unit makes a charge, On a 2-up, it does D3. So same as the Black Coach, which is still like crazy. Like the fact that there's 5 of these, so you have 10 wounds. And let's say you're on one side of the map and there's an objective like way over on the other side. You can literally just be like, oh, I guess I gotta get over there. I can just pop my 24-inch move and fly across the board with these and make it over there. I guess the only, downside, or not even a downside, but you have a lot of movement already. Like you already have so many things that can deep strike and disappear, reappear, and move all over the board that maybe you don't need this. But I would argue that extra movement is never a bad thing. There's never a situation where it's like, oh man, I just have so many units that can get to where I want to go. This sucks. So I would just say, I think these are like really good. I like that they can do mortal wounds on the charge. They can retreat and charge just from the Allegiance ability. If they kill something, then the next turn when they're not doing anything, they can just pop their 24-inch move, go take an objective. Like I feel like they have a lot of versatility, and I think they're solid, especially for their point cost, which is 160. So they literally cost as much as the Grimghast Reapers, but I would argue are vastly superior. Like same wound count, they do mortals on the charge, more movement. Like Hex Race I think are just better, straight up. All the endless spells I think are okay. I didn't see any that I really thought were crazy. I guess this one, you can heal D3 units within 6 inches, or you can choose to hasten time and roll dice for each unit within 6. On a 2-up, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. That's kind of cool. The others are just kind of mortal wound stuff, I think. But they're also kind of pricey. 85, 70, 85. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm not a professional endless spell person. I'm sure somebody will run it and they'll be like, "Wow, Vault of Souls is broken." And I'll be like, "Oh, I guess I'm dumb." So that's definitely a possibility, but here's all the point values. You can take a look here. I know everybody's always like, oh, the points went up for things, but every time a book comes out now, the points go up for literally everything. I think just because the boards have gotten a little smaller, I think they're trying to, condense the army, speed up the process. Like, I don't mind it. I actually think it's all right with the points going up. Since the boards shrink a bit and you can't run as much, or if you do, it's easier to kill it. I don't know. I think it's fine. And then Nighthaunt can ally with Soulblight Gravelords. That is their ally. So I'm excited, man. I think this book is fantastic. I am definitely excited to give it a go. I haven't played with it yet, but I'm definitely going to, and I'm ready. So I'm gonna have fun playing this book until the Skaven and Sylvan book comes out, and then I'm gonna end up playing both of those books, but I'll always come back to this one. Same way how I keep playing Nurgle. I actually love the Nurgle book a lot. Here's my Great Unclean one, jamming out, and yeah. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. See ya. I gotta go turn this off now. Hold on. Woo.